Hello humans! So I made that call again. I'm home from work and in bed with HEDS. Thank you for joining me as we investigate hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, the disorder that affects my life, the life of my kid, and the life of about 100,000 people in America. Yeah, that's it. 100,000. Just a small city's population, and many people don't know they have it. Maybe someone you know, maybe you. It's a rare disorder, so doctors aren't looking for it. Some have never even heard of it. So people go undiagnosed or are misdiagnosed without ever knowing or their doctors realizing that there is an underlying issue to their medical problems. There is an axiom in medicine. If you hear hoofbeats, look for horses, not zebras. Look for more common problems than exotic ones like hEDS. This is good advice for doctors, usually, but it's also the reason that the zebra is the symbol for the Ehlers-Danlos Society. This is what happened to me. I was diagnosed finally with hEDS on my 51st birthday. I had been treated for the effects of the disorder my whole life, but hEDS or any other systemic issue was never brought up, even as all the weird medical issues piled up in my very thick medical records. It wasn't until I could say, my kid has a lot of the same issues, but worse, and their doctor mentioned connective tissue disorders, that the process to get my diagnosis began. That's one of the reasons I'm making these videos. Hopefully someone who needs this information, maybe someone you know, will see them and get checked out for hEDS way sooner than I did. Honestly, I also hope some people will see these videos and think that person needs help on a more than psychological level and donate to our GoFundMe. So in the last video, I talked about the hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome symptom, hard to say, that affects me most on a day-to-day basis, chronic fatigue. This time, in this video, I want to discuss the issue that scares me to death. I live my life petrified by what might be coming, Craniocervical Instability, or CCI. This was a hard script to write because I don't like thinking about this. I kept walking away from my computer. I keep walking away from filming. That's how much thinking about CCI scares me. Craniocervical instability is also known as occipito-atlanteal axial hypermobility. That's why we shorten it to CCI. But the longer term does explain what's happening better. Occipito-atlanteal axial hypermobility refers to the top of the neck becoming unstable when the ligaments that hold the back of the head, the occipital bone, the C1 vertebra, the atlas, and the C2 vertebra, the axis, stretch out. So those bones move around too much. They can spread apart, the angles between them can get too wide, they can even slide side to side if the vertebrae get seriously unstable. They can even go back and forth. The thing is, it's not just those three bones that can become unstable. All 7 cervical vertebrae, neck bones, can come loose, causing a wide range of symptoms. The symptoms of this disorder come from the neck bones sliding around and pinching the nerve roots that come off the spinal cord and then become nerves going down your body, or the bones rubbing against the spinal cord itself. The top of the neck is given special attention and a special name because that's where the most severe symptoms come from. When the craniocervical junction, where the head and neck come together, is screwed up, the bones can pinch the top of the spinal cord, the lower part of the brain, known as the brainstem, or even the cerebellum. That's very scary, at least to me, because it can cause impingement or damage to these parts of the central nervous system, CCI has many symptoms. You can have a heavy headache, a nearly constant headache that feels like your head is too heavy for your neck. It's the bobblehead sensation. You can have occipital neuralgia, headaches up the back of your head because the occipital nerve gets pinched in the neck. If the nerve root for the trigeminal nerve gets pinched, you can get trigeminal neuralgia, which manifests as pain and numbness and muscle tremors in the face. You can get migraines. There's dysautonomia, which means a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system, the ANS, which regulates all involuntary body functions. So when it gets out of whack, you can get rapid heart rate, heat intolerance, cold intolerance, or both, orthostatic intolerance, which is low blood pressure when standing, polydipsia, which is extreme thirst, delayed gastric emptying, and chronic fatigue. There's also paresthesia, which is tingling sensation. It's like pins and needles from your like when your hand or your foot falls asleep, but in much wider areas. It's also can manifest as creepy crawly feelings, which I get in my forearms and lower legs. So beyond dysautonomia, you can also get neck, shoulder, and jaw pain, difficulty swallowing, titterness at the base of the skull, photophobia or light sensitivity, anxiety, tinnitus or ringing in the ears, and dizziness. Also, shortness of breath, fatigue, brain fog, that's the feeling that it's hard to think and having memory problems when you're tired. There's clumsiness, weakness of the limbs, and balance problems. Oh, I'm not done. Yeah, you can get a pressure headache, which is caused by an impairment of the flow of cerebral spinal fluid, which increases intracranial pressure in your skull. Gives you a headache. You can get double blurred vision, tremors, heart palpitations, Lurmite sign, which is a feeling like an electric shock that goes throughout the body. There's fainting, central or mixed sleep apnea, nausea and vomiting, downward nystagmus, which means your eyes keep dropping. And finally, paralysis. Fortunately, not everyone has every one of these symptoms. It all depends on which nerves are getting pinched or what parts of the spine or brain are getting pushed on. I don't have any of the symptoms on this side of the screen, so let's just get rid of them so we don't have to think about that for now. But that means I have everything on this side. And if you saw the second episode of this series, you'll notice that most of the symptoms from that video are here. It could be that my neck is the source of most of my issues. Even better, it seems to be getting worse. Especially the heavy headache, the soreness at the base of my skull, and the trigeminal symptoms, and a lot of balance issues recently. The creepiest part doesn't even count as a symptom. It's just a sensation called crepitus. I can hear the movement of my neck. It sounds like rubbing two sanding blocks together, coarse sanding blocks. Then it pops. Sometimes it pops multiple times. Sometimes it pops loud enough for others to hear it. Whenever it pops, I feel my neck settle back into place, and it feels better for a little while. But sometimes my face starts twitching after I pop my neck. Recently, something new has started. Several times a day when I just look down at something, there is a snap. It's not a pop, it's a snapping sound. And I can tell exactly where it comes from. It sounds like someone taking a cord and letting go. Despite having all these symptoms, I have not been diagnosed with CCI yet. See, I had a special MRI last year to measure how my neck works. This test has threshold numbers for a few different measurements. If one measurement is under a number, you have CCI. If a different measurement is over a certain number, you have CCI. And for all the measurements, my result was the number. If any of those measurements were just another millimeter off, I would have been diagnosed with full-blown CCI. Instead, I was determined to be borderline and diagnosed with Craniocervical Syndrome. And I have been trying to avoid slipping into CCI ever since. I don't know how well I'm doing, but I don't think it's going well. It's getting worse. So to treat this, I've been doing exercise to strengthen my shoulder and neck muscles to stabilize my neck. I also wear a neck brace a few hours a week. I should probably wear it more, but I hate that thing. For some people, CCS or CCI is more of a nuisance. It's an uncomfortable feeling, but not that bad. For others, it becomes a severe disability, and some become bedbound. This could be my future. I'm somewhere in the middle. It's more of a nuisance, but I'm still functional for now. I'm still trying to keep from sliding into CCI, but if all the exercise and bracing don't work, there's only one treatment for this disorder: occipital cervical fusion surgery. Basically, you open up the back of your neck, put a metal plate on the back of your skull, screws in all your vertebrae, and connect them all with metal rods. It alleviates most symptoms, but it takes months of painful therapy to recover, and you can't move your neck for the rest of your life. At least not as well as you could. I like moving my neck. At least I did before it hurt all the time. So that's the origin of my greatest fear. But here's the kicker. I don't have the money for that surgery. I don't have the money to be off for that 4 months. I can't afford any kind of treatment other than exercise. So I feel I'll become one of those who are bedbound. This in beds with heads may be my future. And remember, I have a milder presentation of hEDS. Some people have it much worse. Some people never have the option of just doing exercises to avoid surgery and had their neck fused in their teens or 20s. So if you know someone with hEDS, or you think you might have it, or someone else might think about it, and they're complaining about their neck aching, please consider that they're dealing with something that could be severely affecting their life. Also, please consider this. Thanks for watching my channel. Please click like, share, and subscribe, and check out my other titles. Have a question for any show? Send it to questions@addisonsagenda.com. On my website, addisonsagenda.com, you can learn about booking me to speak at your event and much more. All money made from speaking, videos, or through a GoFundMe goes to help with the medical bills my kid and I have due to hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. The link to the GoFundMe is below, as is a link to the Ehlers-Danlos Society, where you can learn more about EDS. Thanks again for watching. Peace and long life.